Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Australian report for the 13th of May. Now, just on the weekly chart here, we know that we're at an old high here. We also know that the US markets are being sold off as well. And there's a couple of different ways we can count this move up through here. But one of them was basically 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for the third wave here, pulling back to the fourth wave here. So we need to keep an eye on that because that's a long way down for that. So we'll just monitor it like we were yesterday. So let's just cruise into this here. And so what we're looking at yesterday, it was a bit difficult for me to decipher this particular pattern here. In the US markets, we can call a top in here. In this case, I was looking at it as an A and a B and a C wave to here. But we had 5 waves down here as we counted yesterday. So if we made another low here, then we'll have to negate that situation and put that over there, put this wave 4 over here, take this B wave over here and put this here and have a more serious top in play here. So that means that this can become wave 1 here. I might need to lift that up 1 degree of structure. So that means that, well, let's just do that now. So we could see it as a wave A or wave 1 here and coming back in for wave 2 here or wave B. So I'll just put that there as well. But we do have 5 waves right down to that low there that we counted yesterday, and we're just waiting to see if this was going to be a corrective pattern here, which it is. So that means we're going to see another move down. So we could say just on the onset of the length of that to the length of this here. So we could expect a move down to the 6-9 here. That wouldn't be too far. That wouldn't be pushing the bow too far at that point. So I don't know if that's going to be wave 3 or wave C at that point. I think we could just about go to the tick chart, I think, from here, just to go back over what we did yesterday. Bring a little bit more data in, that'd be enough. So yes, what we're doing yesterday, as you may know, we were counting this down as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, basically 5 waves down here. Now, I wasn't sure what to call it, wave C or wave 4 or 1 or A, whatever. But then looking at this here, let's just clean this up here for a moment and we can look at this in this regard here, wave A here. Borrow that B here, and look, it's not a very nice C wave here for that, but I'll just go with that for the time being. And whoops, daisy, get that functioning there. So, and we're going to look at this here as wave 1 or wave A, and over here as 2 or B, and down yonder here as down to 6-9 as, well, wave C or wave 3. So I think it's best if we do work it like this rather than say it's this or that, because that will only get us, we could get away with that, but it could get us into trouble a little bit later on with all of that. So yeah. We'll need to work out if it is wave 3 or wave C. There's a couple of ways we can do that with the personality of the structure, because as a wave 3 here coming down, we should just basically power through this trend channel here, this Elliott wave trend channel, just power through. If it's a wave C, it's going to be, it's going to kind of stay in there a little bit more. So we'll just see how that travels. We'll see there, but basically you can look to go short. If you're not already short, this would have been the short trade through here just by the by. I know it's hindsight, and still, because we'd always look at it that way, but that's okay. Just you know, looking at it, because we had that 5 waves. All we were looking for was to figure out what this was here in that space. So that's basically where we are, really. I could probably pull that apart a little bit further there. Still there will be, this is a little bit of a classic trading levels pattern sitting there. So what we also need to do now is we need to kind of think, we've always been thinking in terms of this pattern here, looking to the upside because we've been in a bull market. So we need to do that in reverse now. So we'll be looking at it like this. So this is really the first low below the level. So it might get nice and clean here and drop from that point, or it could get a little bit more complicated and move back above the level here. But the key to remember is always the first low below the level, that low below the level. That's the reference point. You don't want to go shorting it here because you're going to get the high probability of the retest. So if you can't work out the wave count, it doesn't matter. It's just that low that you're looking for. And then you can go short here. You can bring it up and go short here. You can go short here. And also too, when you do go short down the bottom here, just remember that because it's an old low, there's going to be a bounce there as well. So there'll be another little tiny classic trading levels pattern there. You might be able to put 2 or 3 trades in around that little space there as well. So it's just a very simple way. Another way to look at it is to the volume. If you're trading the ASX 200, which most people are trading CFDs, but if you've got access to the futures market, you'll be able to see the volume, because this would be what you're looking for in all of this. Is you want to look at decreasing volume moving back up in the retest. That helps confirm the price action. So less volume than the move down. There's videos on our website about how to read volume bar for bar. So that would be the first low below the level. So it might have this whole move here hasn't really had a correction. So you may get some sort of rally coming in to play here, all the short covering or whatever from the evening session, and then moving through at that point. You could, if that moves up there, then you've got this second one to move into at that point. If I can just draw that in there. That's so that's what we're looking for there. Look, it doesn't get you the best price, but it makes it safer. That's all. Okay, I haven't looked at any of the other markets, so we're going to do that now. Iron ore here. This is just iron ore on the tick chart. But it's interesting to see that it's got a bit of a classic trading levels pattern sitting on the 1300. So it's a minor level, 1, 2, and 3. But let's just go to the daily chart here. I mean, as I mentioned before, we're going to be, there's going to be, because it's the top of group 1, there's going to be a bit of a dance across here. It doesn't really affect us because I understand there's more upside to this. I suppose it's possible to, I'll have to double check this, but I suppose it's possible to look at, copy this and put wave 3 here, wave 4 here, and wave 5 sitting here for that. I suppose 1 and 2 here, and I don't think it's the case, but I'll double check that. But we'll keep an eye. We'll just see how it plays out here. We're looking for a corrective pattern. It's a bit early to say just yet because we need a top to come into play and then we can move it from that point. So the next one will be gold. Oh, gold's dropped a bit, so I haven't looked at any of these this morning. It's a bit short on time. I'm still okay with this. I'm just going to call this the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave coming into play here for this. I'll just see how that travels. I know we're sort of breaching the 38.2% retracement level a little bit here, but I just don't see any other way. We are breaching it a bit, but not a biggie, because we've got a very clear wave 1 and 2 here, and this is all just a third wave here. So we don't have, it's not going to finish off in 3 waves from that last correction here for this. And that's not a B wave, that's in 5 waves. Yeah, so I'm okay with that. So I'll just stay with that for the time being. Just don't hit the panic button. And crude, we'll have a crude's good. Crude's sitting on top of that 65 there, so that's good. That's very healthy for the bull run on the medium level there. And copper, copper's a little bit weaker. We're looking at 2 waves here. From the top, here's an A and a B and a C wave here. So it's probably the case. But still, the trend's not finished to the upside here. This trend here is really quite clear. So that's okay, but it can drop back here to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, or the 38.2% retracement level. So roughly speaking, if I call that top in there, which I don't think it is just yet, so it comes back to the major trading level 1 there, the 10,000. I just didn't think this is finished just yet here, as 1 and 2 and 3 here. So it could still push up from that point. But anyway, I'm not really worried about them, you know. They will get sold off a little bit while the markets are being sold off. And some of those US stocks can be, you know, like Tesla and Apple can be bearish for the next 20 days. We'll have a look at the Aussie dollar. That's down as well. Well, that's really faded down, isn't it? So that means we need to look at this in a different way. We need to look at that as wave 1 here and copy that and have wave 2 over here. And I didn't need to copy that. I could have just deleted it, but there we go. Get rid of those. Bring this down to here. I didn't think that wave 2, I was never really sort of happy with that anyway. But wave 3, 4, and clear these out here. Leave that, move that, that. So let's just see how that travels. But that would be the next logical step. I mean, we do have, the important thing to remember here is that we do have 5 waves to the upside. That's the important bit. We don't have 3 waves up, so we should be coming down a bit further, but and then pushing up in line with copper and the other guys. So they're in corrective modes as well. So okay, so US BHP is down 2%. So as I mentioned before, it is possible to count 5 waves up through here. We've done that. I think we did it, I don't know, maybe on the hourly chart or something or other. Yeah, here. So 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 3rd wave, 4th wave, and 5th wave. So we know that that's there. But the problem is that we hardly even been up here for that, you know. So what we could look at here is this also being wave 1 here and wave 2 here for that, pulling back into that space. There's a couple of different ways we can count this. I mean, we count this as 1 and 2 here. I could also count these 5 waves here as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, pulling back to the 4th wave here. So there's a variety of things that can occur here. I don't know, but as I mentioned before, we've got to expect, you know, some sort of you know, profit taking. That's what I call number 8, the 3rd strongest number, some profit taking, but the wind has already been taken out of the sail here, so it's not going to be the same. Don't use this. You always get in the markets, you always get something different. You never get the same. So if you see a trend, well, then you're going to get a correction. If you've got a correction, well, then you're going to get a trend. So you're always getting the opposite. So it's not, I mean, it is the real world, the markets, but it's sort of not the real world when we're working in it, because if you see a car and you want that, well, then you buy it and that's what you get. But in the markets, if you see a trend and you buy it, that's not what you get. You'll get a correction next. So you got to get your head around that. But anyway, that's that. Let's just check on our local BHP. Look, it's the same thing as well. It's going to have that dance across the 50 here. I just think this trend is a little bit, we can count 5 waves here probably as well, but yeah, we're expecting it to come down, you know. I thought it may have another little high here, but it can come down, you know, back into test the 48 here. So yeah, you need to make up your mind what you're going to do with all of that. Rightio. So next is we'll have a look at Fortescue and those guys. If I can find it, there we go. So Fortescue tends to do its own thing a little bit, doesn't it? So I just don't think it's, I mean, we could count from wave 4 here to wave up to this top. We could go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here and then up for 5. So that could be a top here. But it just doesn't look right. This is all like the third wave here. It's more like 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So another two steps to the upside. But obviously, I mean, it's not like iron ore has dropped overnight, has it? So I just sort of see another 2 tops here, something like this, before we see a larger correction come into play and come back down and cover that gap or something of that nature, and looking to take some chips off the table there somewhere. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but that would be a bit of a roadmap at this stage. So that's that. Rio won't be much diff, so it's down 0.5%. It's at the 130. The 130 is the top of minor group 1, so it's really quite important. It's also at an old top as well, so it's going to have a dance across here as well. We can count 5 waves up here as well for this. So we could look at it as wave 1 and wave 2 here, or a top. So make sure that, probably a good idea, if you're going to take money off the table, do it now. Yeah, I'll just leave the stop out of the way. Where does that leave us actually with that? If we go from the low to the top here, that leaves us right. The stops on the 61.8%. I think if you've got Rio and you've got BHP and you've got FMG, well, then you may as well take the money completely off one of them. So we could do it here for this. So we could take profit on this one. Then that will, because really they're all the same sort of thing, aren't they? So you may as well not, you know, if I just consider them all the same trade, really. So if you got 1% risk on all of them, then you know, that's 3%. So you don't really need that. So anyway, you decide what you need to do. I'm just saying. What have I missed? I think that's it. So I think I'll leave it at that. We'll just rehash this a little bit. So on the ASX200, because we got 5 waves coming down here, which could be wave 1 or wave A, and then an ABC for wave 2 or B, it's just logical to say in the first instance that we're going to be coming down to the 6.9, which is roughly the same length as the first one. Now, if we go to the bigger picture here for a moment and just talk about this a bit more. So if this move down here can be an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave, and finish here, and then go up from there. Okay, that's possible. So we need to take that in board. Also, too, this can be 1 and 2 to here, 3 down to here, and 4 and 5 here. So I don't know that yet, but I'm just shooting the breeze here. So this is what we'll be working out with the S&P 500 as well, is that will we get 5 waves here? Because if we get 5 waves here, then we're going to get some sort of A, B, C pattern, probably testing the floor here at 7. And because we get 5 here, that means we'll get another 5 over here. Now this 5 over here also may just be an A and a B and a C wave down to here, or this can extend into a 3rd wave and give us a 4th and a 5th wave here. Now I don't know that either, and I'm not saying that's going to happen, but anything is possible, so it's just good to know both sides of the coin. So our job really is to, sure, we can go short here as I mentioned, and we can go down to the 6-9, but in the bigger picture, what we're trying to figure out is, will we get 5 waves in this structure here? Because if we do, then we'll get another 5 over here. And then the same rule applies. If this turns into 5, then we're going to get a correction and then another 5 down. So, you know, a much bigger picture bearish picture to the downside. So I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying that's how we work through it. And that's our map. Now, this top here, this is really important. If that's breached in any way whatsoever, we will need to go long from that point. You could also bring that down to the 2nd high here as well for that. So that's the only way that we could go long logically. Anyway, that's just some food for thought. So let's just assume we don't know what's going to happen, but we know that the market's going to 6-9 first. So we can take advantage of that. It means that we can tighten up on other markets and other positions that you've got around the place or whatever. But if this produces 5 waves down, then we've got a problem. We didn't look at the banks. That's what we're missing. So with the banks here, CBA is the main one. So I'll just sort of focus on this for a moment. So this is what's going to drag the indices, the ASX200 around in the daytime. So in this case, we're looking for wave 4 here. Now, we've looked at this as wave 1 and 2 here, and going up for 3, 4. We haven't really, could you count that as 5 waves? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Hasn't really made a top, all those sort of things. Will it? Don't know. Can't get 5. Can we get 5 waves out of that? So, you know, markets don't finish off the way that we like them, and maybe it will push up from here. I don't know. Maybe we need to finish this off a little bit. But either way, we're very close to this wave 3 top here. So that means that we're going to be coming back down. So that means we could be looking for low of wave 2 here to the top here. That means we can come down to this point here. So I'll just use this here roughly. So we can come down into that space as a wave 4. So really the resources have been really quite steady, haven't they? I mean, iron ore was sort of up a little bit, crude oil was up a bit, copper was down a bit. So it's the banks that will be hit the most, I think. So if you've got positions in the banks, then you need to be, you need to be all over that. But just to let you know that I'm quite comfortable with this wave 4 here. So we could see it as an opportunity rather than a threat. but it still needs to be managed to make the most of it. So I'll leave that to you to do. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. Always much appreciated. Cheers.